Let's talk about one of the most driven and frankly complicated rulers in all of history. A man they called the Sleepless Emperor, who was haunted by this single, all-consuming dream to rebuild the Roman Empire.
But before we get to the dream, we have to start with a nightmare. Imagine this: the capital city, Constantinople, is burning. Justinian's advisors are begging him to run for his life, and his wife, the Empress Theodora, looks him in the eye and says this: "It was a challenge, really. Are you going to die an emperor or live the rest of your life as a nobody?"
You see, everything Justinian did was for this one massive idea: Renovatio Imperii, the restoration of the empire. He didn't just want to be the ruler of the eastern half. No, his goal was way bigger. He wanted to take back the West, to reunite the whole thing and make the Mediterranean a Roman lake all over again. But you know, a dream that big is fragile. And his almost died before it even got started. His entire reign was immediately tested by fire and fury in an event that would pretty much decide his fate: the Nika Riots.
And believe it or not, it all kicked off because of chariot racing. The two main fan groups, the Blues and the Greens, who usually hated each other, actually teamed up. And what started as a protest just exploded. It became a full-blown revolution. For 5 days, the city was pure chaos, and historic buildings, like the first Hagia Sophia, were burned to the ground.
And this is where we see the other side of Justinian, the ruthless side. To end it all, his top general, Belisarius, trapped the rioters in the Hippodrome, the giant chariot stadium, and just slaughtered them. We're talking an estimated 30,000 people. The price for restoring order was an absolute bloodbath.
So this was it, the moment of truth. Every advisor is screaming, "Get out of here, save yourself." But Theodora, with those bone-chilling words about royalty making a good burial shroud, convinced him to stay. He chose the throne over his own life, and by making that choice, he didn't just survive. He crushed his opposition and made his power absolute.
So with his city in ruins and his power totally secure, Justinian didn't see a disaster. He saw a blank canvas. He realized he could now rebuild his capital, not just to what it was, but into something grander than ever before, creating monuments of both stone and, well, ideas.
And his first project, the big one, was the Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom. This was so much more than a church. It was a statement, an architectural miracle with a dome so massive it looked like it was hanging from heaven by a golden chain. It was proof that God was on his side.
The scale of this thing is just mind-boggling. Try to wrap your head around 10,000 workers laboring day and night for more than 5 years. This wasn't just a construction project, it was a total mobilization of the empire's resources. And check this out, he literally built the empire into the church. Materials were brought in from every corner of the known world: marble from Greece, priceless columns stripped from ancient pagan temples. He was physically weaving the entire Roman world together under this one spectacular dome. And when it was finally done, the story goes that Justinian walked inside, looked up at that incredible dome, and just declared, "Solomon, I have surpassed thee." He was basically saying his new Christian Rome had officially outdone the greatest wonders of the ancient world. But like I said, Justinian built two great monuments. One was of stone and gold, sure, but the other was made of words, and it might be even more important. He decided to take on the monumental task of organizing 1,000 years of messy, contradictory Roman laws.
And what came out of it was the Corpus Juris Civilis, the body of civil law. It was a whole system. You had the Codex, which gathered all the laws, the Digest, which was like an encyclopedia of legal arguments, the Institutes, a textbook for students, and the Novellae for all his new laws. This thing was a game changer. It created a legal framework so powerful that it's still the foundation for the legal systems in most of Europe and beyond today.
But here is where the story takes a really dark turn. Because a dream that big, an ambition that vast, it comes with a price. And for Justinian, that price was paid in oceans of blood and treasure, pushing his empire right to the edge of collapse.
Just look at what happened in his war to liberate Italy. It dragged on for 20 brutal years, and the city of Rome itself, the very symbol of his dream, was left a hollowed-out shell. Its population went from maybe 500,000 people down to just 30,000. He basically got back a ghost town.
And that's the terrible irony, isn't it? In his quest to save Roman civilization in Italy, his armies basically destroyed it. The cure was so much worse than the disease, and it left Italy scarred for centuries.
And as if a devastating 20-year war wasn't enough, something even worse showed up. It arrived on grain ships from Egypt, the bubonic plague. It tore through the empire, killing maybe a third of the entire population. It was an apocalyptic event that shattered his army and his economy.
So, how do you even begin to weigh a legacy like that? It's not a simple story of a hero or a villain. It's more like one of those beautiful mosaics he loves so much, shining and brilliant from a distance, but when you get up close, you can see all the cracks and all the broken pieces.
I mean, this balance sheet really says it all. On one side, you have these timeless, incredible achievements, the Hagia Sophia, his law code, but on the other side, you have these staggering human cost, insane taxes, the massacre in the Hippodrome, a devastated Italy, and millions dead from plague. So, did he achieve his dream? In a way, yes. He got his immortality. Here we are, 1,500 years later, still talking about him. But he did it by bleeding his own empire almost to death, leaving it broke, exhausted, and vulnerable. And that really leaves us with the big question, not just about Justinian, but about so many powerful figures in history. Do these monumental achievements, the things that echo through eternity, justify the horrifying human price that was paid to create them?